morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you had a nice weekend. I'm going to spend a few moments with you this morning in light of this topsy-turvy world we live in. One of the other things that we've seen a lot of topsy-turviness in is the stock market. And I know our office will occasionally get questions about, oh boy, what is this doing to my retirement account? So I thought I'd spend a few moments with you this morning talking about our WSU retirement plans and the sort of impact that may have the market may be having on our plans. So with that, let's see if I can successfully share my screen with you guys again. All right. Hopefully you should see a blue, 2 shades of blue screen with retirement and market shifts on it. And if so, someone is giving me feedback. Let me look and see what they said. All righty, thank you, Micah. With that, let's just kind of jump in for a few moments. I kind of like this graphic because not only is it indicative of what the stock market may or may not be doing, but it just kind of almost feels like our life, that it's kind of up and down, and you can choose your various waves, and some waves are, as they said, flatten the curve. Some curves are getting flatter. Some things still feel topsy-turvy. It's kind of a nice market, or a nice little graphic to reflect what life maybe feel like for you right now. So with that, let's kind of look at, if I can, there we go. What does this past year look like on the stock market? And a lot of our plans are driven by stock market returns. But on one hand, it's felt like, oh my goodness, what we all are focusing on is around here in early February and what happened in later March, where it just like went down, 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 and we all were feeling rather nauseous at that point because what happened to my retirement account. But one of the things I kind of want to point out to you is look at where we started a little over a year ago and look at where we're at now. There was a lot of great growth here, but if you look at about a year ago, we're about where we were last year. In fact, just maybe a tiny bit higher. And I think that's an important thing to remember whenever you look at the stock market, is we like seeing this sort of activity. We like seeing our downs being kind of like downs like this, around what happened in August to September, just a little down and then it goes back up. None of us like to see these big downs, but we do like it when we start seeing it crawl back up again. And I think unless you were planning on retiring right here, this would be where most people that are very nervous about what the market was doing right there is the people that were thinking about retiring then. One thing to always remember about the market is it will recover. It has historically recovered. Of course, I don't have a crystal ball. All we have is history to look back at, and whenever it's taken a dive down, it's always gone back up. And so if you ever talk about to financial planners, that's what they are always going to tell you, is just realize that this sort of thing does occur. Looking at our own retirement plans, how does the market possibly impact your particular retirement plan? If you're in PERS 2, PERS or LEOFF2, the Law Enforcement Officer Plan 2, and actually PERS 1. We don't have a whole lot of PERS 1 people either. These are what are called defined benefit plans. Under those plans, you make no investment decisions. The state of Washington, the Washington State Investment Board is the board that makes all the investment decisions for those particular plans. So usually what I will see is when the market goes down, people in PERS 1, PERS 2, and LEOFF don't ever really worry about it because their benefit is a guaranteed benefit based on an equation. it's not really based on what is the market doing to my plan and to my future benefit. Did my money all just disappear? It doesn't really matter because the state is required to pay you a certain benefit based on the equation. Most equation is 2% times your years of service with the state or participating in the retirement plan times the average of your high salary. And for like PERS 2, which probably the majority of our PERS people sitting in today are on PERS 2, that is a 60-month period, consecutive 60-month period that they look at. Again, 2% times years of service times the average of the high 60 consecutive month. You'll notice nowhere in that equation does it say, how much money have I accumulated? How much money have I paid into the plan? How much money did the employer pay into the plan? It doesn't matter when it comes to that particular benefit. What will be impacted by the market, however, is your contribution rates. So our state actuaries will watch those plans, and if there's sufficient funds in the plans, they may not change contribution rates. If the plan is doing very, very well, you may see your contribution rate go down. If the rate, the contribution or the plan is a little unhealthy, and gosh, because of the stock market and what the state's been investing, they may need us all to make more contributions to the plan. You may see your contributions go up. So that's really where you see the difference when it comes to the market impact on your retirement plan. PERS 3 and TERS 3 are also two other plans that are offered through the university. Half of it is just as I explained, just like the PERS 2 plans and the LEOFF plan. Half of it, that half is funded by the university. It gives you a defined benefit, guaranteed benefit in the future if you participate in that plan. The big difference with PERS 2 or PERS 3 and TERS 3 is it's 1% times your years of service times the average of your high 60-month salary. So the only difference there is instead of 2%, it's 1%, and that's because it's half of your benefit when it comes to the PERS 3 plans. The other half is what they call a defined contribution plan. So what's defined is not what the future benefit's going to be. What's defined is how much money you can contribute to the plan. So under these plans, you can contribute as little as 5% up to a maximum of 15%. And any of you that participate in that plan, that was a decision that you made at the beginning of your eligibility period. You either chose a contribution rate, or if you made no choice, these were the default plans, and you were defaulted into a contribution rate of 5%. Those investment decisions, for that half of the account that you're funding, you do have investment decisions there. One of the plans do have what they call a retirement strategy account, which is a default option, which somebody in Olympia will be managing your funds. But you have the ability at any time to go in and say, I'd like to invest my funds differently. And you can go in and make those adjustments. I'll talk a little bit more about the investment options here in a moment. The other plans that are offered through the university are the WSU retirement plan, which for people that have been with the university for a long time, often just referred to as the TIAA plan. TIAA is actually our vendor that we have associated with this particular plan. The official name of the plan is the WSU retirement plan, and our voluntary plan. So we have two voluntary plans, one with TIAA, which is called the Voluntary Investment Program, which is often referred to as a VIP. And again, some people may be familiar with an SRA is what it was called for a long, long time, but we are calling it a voluntary investment plan. And the other one is the deferred comp plan with the state of Washington. All of these plans are defined contribution plans. So there is no guaranteed benefit in the future or a defined benefit in the future under these plans. They are all defined contributions where you determine how much money you want to put in, and then you have to manage the funds that are in those accounts. So investment decisions are required under those plans. So market volatility, when it goes up and when it goes down, often is unwelcome and can be unnerving. And I think one of the main things to realize that the professionals that work in the financial environment will often say is, first of all, don't panic. Market swings are not uncommon, and in fact, they are normal. We've had periods over our country's contributing to the stock market, et cetera, which of course there was great dives, and those were very painful times. You know, the Great Depression was that way. In the 70s, there was a period. In the early 2000s, well, 2009, 2008, there was a period where the market went down. And of course, we just recently experienced a time when the market went down. But what happened following each of those is the market went back up. And so if time is on your side, there really is no need to panic, because you can make adjustments, and eventually the market will start going up. One thing that a lot of people will say, and again, sometimes the younger you are, the easier this message is to hear, is right now, you know, a month or two ago, if you were in the market, I had quite a few young people, or people, I wasn't always young, people came in and said, the market went down, I'm going to start participating. Why? Because they were buying low, and they know that the market's going to start going up again. And so when they bought the stocks when things were low, and then as the market goes up, there's more value added to those stocks. So sometimes even in my own mind, when I want to freak out a little bit, I remind myself, okay, Ann, you're buying low right now. That means you're getting more stock in your accounts. And then when the market starts going up, those accounts will start growing for you because you purchased when you were low. Another thing to think out is write it out. In some cases, if not most, when you see the market die, the best decision may be to do nothing. People sometimes want to try to time the market and think, oh gosh, you know, I just saw my money disappear. I hate looking at my account balance. Obviously, the investment choice I've made is really wrong. I'm going to go in and make all sorts of adjustments to my account right now. That may not be the best decision to make. You might want to just write it out. And who can help you with that? It's not going to be the staff of the HRS benefits unit. We are not financial planners, nor do we give any sort of financial advice. Who you might want to contact, though, and that's point number 3 here, is reevaluate. Step back, talk to a professional. That could be one of the TIAA-CREF representatives. It could be somebody with Empower, and who are they? They are the individuals that manage our TERS 3 and our PERS 3 accounts, or just your own personal financial advisor. It may be good to talk to a financial planner and get an idea of, should you be making any adjustments? Where are you at in your career and your savings plan? Is it better to make adjustments right now, or may it be better for you to just ride out the market? So when you're thinking about establishing your retirement contributions and how you're investing your money, a couple of things to keep in mind are diversify your portfolio. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversifying your investments can really help balance out the highs and lows of your retirement account. What you will often see is people will choose what they call aggressive investment options, which tends to be stocks. Some stocks are more aggressive than others. And usually the rule of thumb is the younger you are, the more aggressive you can be, because again, you have time on your side. If the market goes up and down, you have time to ride out the market and wait for increases again. But other investment options you may have could be some bond options. Of course, the money market is a very safe investment option. Not many people do the money market anymore because it kind of has the percentage of investment return that you see on your bank accounts, which is not really that high. But some people say balance it out. You know, maybe when you're younger, You may have something like a 75-25 split where you're pretty aggressive at 75%, but you still have 25% that's more of an conservative investment option. And then over time, the closer you get to retirement, you will see people start becoming more conservative investors. Because what are they wanting to do at that time? They're wanting to save the money that they want to protect the money that they've saved over time. So you're going to start seeing people start shifting that percentage. Somebody maybe in their mid 40s will start thinking of, gosh, maybe 75-25 is way too aggressive for me. I'd feel more comfortable with like a 65-35. And then when they hit their 50s, they may go down to a 60-40 split. And even people that are really close to retirement will usually still have a good portion of their funds in a more aggressive account, but also have a higher percentage in more conservative account to try to protect those funds. That's going to really help when the market does crash, because what's going to happen is when stocks go down, bonds usually go up. And so if you have a good balance of your funds there, it can help kind of balance out, or as I said, make it a smoother ride. Resist the urge to time the market is another point. So sometimes people will say, well, gosh, this particular product is doing very, very poorly right now. I'm going to get out of it and I'm going to go over to this product, which is doing really, really well. The hard part is if people could truly time the market, we'd all be millionaires. We'd all know when we should get out of one thing and get into another. But as you all know, we are not all millionaires and billionaires and know how to time the market. Sometimes it's kind of just kind of a lucky guess when people happen to time it absolutely correctly. So one of the things that you want to try to do is set your financial goals with a long-term approach in mind and not an emotional approach. Don't go in and say, oh gosh, I'm really mad at this product because I just lost a bunch of money in it. I'm emotionally deciding to make changes. Probably not the best thing to do. Try to remember your long-term goals, which is also the last point here is build a portfolio that's going to help you over your career and not just during a high period or a low period. So when it comes to your investment options, again, unless you're in the plan twos, you know, if you're PERS 2, LEOF 2, PERS 1, you don't really have to choose your investment options, but you may be in one of the voluntary plans where you do have to choose your investment options. All of them provide you with a diversity of ways to invest your monies. One of them is you can build your own portfolio. And that is when you go out and look at the different investment options offered through the different plans, and you choose how you want to invest your funds. You can choose higher risk ones, you can choose lower risk ones, things that are a little bit more stable. Again, when you build your own portfolio, probably the best thing to remember is one, again, diversify, and two, don't do it once in your career and step away and never come back and look at it again. You are going to want to periodically look at that, perhaps meet with a financial manager, somebody with TIA or DRS, and say, should I be making adjustments to my account? Here's my goals. This is where I'm at in my career. This is how much longer I have before I want to retire. Let's reevaluate. But one thing I like about all of the plans now is they have truly these managed fund accounts where individuals like the idea of having their monies be in a stock market sort of environment, but they really don't feel competent to make a lot of their own investment decisions. All of the plans have what they call either retirement strategy accounts or life cycle accounts. What are those? So those are accounts that are managed by somebody at the different insurance plans or the different retirement plans. And what they would do is they would say, how would the typical 35-year-old person at this point that's wanting to retire between 60 and 65, how would they be investing their funds? And they set up an account that, let's say that's you, so 30 years down the road, it's going to be 2050. They would say, how would the person that's going to retire around 2050, 2055 be investing in their retirement plan? Under the retirement strategy account, what do you know? It's called Retirement Strategy Account 2050. Under the life cycle account, it's called the Life Cycle Account 2050. And you could just say, I want to do how these professionals think most people should be investing their funds. What will happen if you choose one of those type of accounts? They automatically make those adjustments. So again, the younger you are, where it's more aggressive, over time they start shifting the account so that it becomes more conservative. And so somebody is managing that for you under both of those retirement accounts. The voluntary accounts have those options as well. So that might be something that you want to look into as an option. One thing I always like to point out about these is you don't have to pick your actual retirement year that you're thinking you're going to retire. So let's say you are that 30, 35-year-old that's going to retire around 2050 or 2055, but you are not somebody that's comfortable with being an aggressive investor. When the stock market goes down, you get an upset stomach, you lose sleep, etc. You could choose a more conservative investment option under one of these accounts. You maybe want to choose a 2040. What would somebody that's going to be retiring in 20 years want to be investing? That's automatically going to be a little bit more of a conservative approach. You can even go younger. You could go down to 2030 if you wanted to. The reverse is true as well. Let's say you're somebody that maybe near the mid or end of your career, but you haven't done a lot of retirement savings. You could come along and say, I'd like to be a little bit more aggressive. So even though I plan on retiring in 10, 15 years, I'm going to choose a plan that maybe is a 30-year projected plan, realizing I'm taking more risks and that I might need to come back and adjust that later, but it's going to be automatically a little bit more conservative or aggressive. And then other considerations is you always want to look at the fees and expenses associated with plans. I'll let you know if you do a build your own portfolio, your fees are going to be a little bit lower because you are managing your account. You are somebody who said, I'm taking on the responsibility for managing my account, so the fees or the expenses may not be as high. Where if you pick a managed approach, it will be a little bit higher in fees and expenses because someone is managing it for you. I should quickly mention, and again, this is for the plans 3 and DCP. You can also invest your money the same way the Washington State Investment Board is investing the monies for all the defined benefit accounts that they manage. So that is another option that you have available to you. So I just kind of wanted to provide this overview. I did provide some contact information here on this screen, who you can call, websites you can visit. All of them, I will let you know, TIA, Department of Retirement Systems, both have calculators that you can go out and play around with and run different scenarios through. You can contact them and they can, again, answer specific questions that those in our office probably won't be able to. But if you do have questions, feel free to give us a call. We'll be glad to help you out. We're all in this one together too, guys. As we're doing all sort of things together separately these days. This is another one that we're all together in. All of us, if you're benefit eligible, have a retirement account at WSU. All of us are having these same feelings when it comes to our retirement monies. So you're not alone there. And hopefully this was helpful to you. I know we are looking for additional topics that we can be providing through the daily Coug Connect. One of the things to kind of keep in mind is if there's any, specifically in the realm that I live in, the benefits realm, if there's anything that was like, gosh, that was interesting, I'd like to go deeper into that, or I'd love somebody to say, hey, tell me more about my long-term disability insurance, how does it work, or my life insurance, or even your medical dental, let us know. We can throw together another 15, 20-minute presentation for you. Thanks so much for joining. Tomorrow we will be having another session at 10 o'clock, and that's going to be held by Don Reed. And it's called Using the Tried and True. So please join us again tomorrow. It's always great connecting with you guys, and I wish you a great day.